Okay, everybody, it looks like we're live for episode 184 of Time Out Tuesday. And I titled this episode a phrase that I think almost every parent has used at some point or another with their kids. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Usually, that's used for something like if you reach into a bucket of Skittles and you don't get any of your favorite color, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Or, you buy a box of crayons and it doesn't have the right color assortment. Well, you get what you get and you don't get upset. And we're trying to teach our children a lesson that, sometimes it's random and you just have to kind of accept what's been given to you and move on. It's not the most important thing. But I think it would behoove us as parents to take that phrase under advisement on a much larger and much more important scale. The way we raise our kids, the guidance that we give them, the things that we encourage them to do, allow them to do, not allow them to do, are going to be all of the things that are going to shape them over time. And to an extent, we get what we get and we can't get upset. If we were strong parents and we guided them towards doing well in academics or doing well in challenging themselves with different activities and becoming physically fit and eating properly and all these other things that we try to do, we have a pretty good chance of the child becoming successful. If we fail to do all of those things, we have a pretty good chance that the child won't be successful, or will be successful much later in life when they, I guess, figure it out on their own and seek their own guidance. It's not really reasonable for us to think that if we just sort of sit back and let the tail wag the dog with every single thing, that the child is going to turn out the way we really want them to be, which is, successful, thoughtful, courteous, caring about themselves, their own health, interesting, helpful to others, things like that. And what made me think about this week in particular was that I had a very strange conversation with someone, actually two strange conversations, but they were separated by about a month. The first conversation I had was with a parent calling to inquire about school, the dojo, karate classes for their child. And what they expressed was a deep concern that they learn how to protect themselves, to defend themselves, very concerned about that. The child was heading towards middle school. They wanted to make sure that they had some background in protecting themselves. And this was a genuine concern of the parent, and I believe it was very genuine. And then in addition to that, they also wanted the child to have an extracurricular fitness activity so that they didn't get, soft and mushy, especially following the pandemic. And, now that school was over, there wouldn't even be gym. So they enrolled the child in the program, and we never once saw the child come to class. Now, we reach out every week. Hey, signed up, don't forget, you got to come to class. There's only one way to learn karate. There's only one way to learn self-defense. There's only one way to become physically fit, which is actually to come to class. And really, 4 weeks went by, and the communication that I had over the course of that, the second communication, I guess, was that we're not able to get him there because all he wants to do is play on his computer. And I thought to myself, well, I don't understand. Actually, I did more than thought to myself. I suggested a couple of strategies that we've used with other parents in the past to, try to reduce some of the screen time in lieu of more productive activities. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a really great example of the tail wagging the dog. The parent thinks something is really important, a life learning experience is something that they wanted, right, to learn how to defend yourself and to become physically fit, and yet they're somehow succumbing to this child demanding to do nothing else other than play video games all summer long. They can't get the kid out of the house. And I thought back to my own experience with my parents. I certainly thought about how we raised our own kids and some of the challenges that we had. And I really couldn't come up with a scenario where I would have been able to say that I am not going to do something that is critically important to my parents, and that was going to be the new way of living. It just wasn't going to happen. And similarly with my own kids, there are definitely things that we put into the bucket of we believe this is important and we believe you've got to do it. We put some other things into the bucket of it's optional. If you like it, you can continue. And we put some things into the bucket that said you're not going to do this. We don't believe it's a good idea. That's what I think parents are about, right? It was not without challenges. One of my sons was definitely very, very into video gaming, and it was a challenge at times to get him off the computer to focus on schoolwork and focus on other activities. We were fortunate that he outgrew the obsession, and while he continues to be a video game kind of guy, he compartmentalizes and he works and he goes to school and he plays video games and all kinds of other activities. But if left to his own devices, where we didn't guide him down that path, I don't really know what would have happened. If he would have had no other interests, if he would have not put full effort into high school, college, I don't know that he would have done everything he needed to do to become an engineer, as he's nearly becoming now. Had we not encouraged certain behaviors and disallowed other behaviors. And so I think it's really important for parents to remember that, we want to be friends with our kids, but we got to take a hard line. If there's something that we feel strongly about, well, then we have to find a path to encouraging them to do it. Maybe in exchange for some of the things that they want to do, a little bit of an ethical bribe or bartering system. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own opinions on things like that. But certainly the tail should not wag the dog. They're children. They only see 3 feet in front of them. They're not looking half a year down the road, a year down the road, and they're certainly not looking towards adulthood. That's our job, is to guide them towards that. And we are going to get what we get, and we can't really get upset if it's not what we really want. So, be strong out there, parents. It's important. Kids need guidance. And that's really it for today. So we got a busy week ahead of us today. Testing this weekend. We have our third Women's Self-Defense program that is sold out this weekend as well. We're already getting close to selling out of our fourth one, which is on August 14th. There are still seats available for that. If you have friends that are going away to school for the first time, traveling for the first time by themselves, getting new jobs that require them to visit homes, this is a really good and very important course for them, to at least give them some background in self-defense, so that they at least are not walking into things completely unprepared. So that's it for today. Hope everyone's having a fantastic summer. I will see you next week. Peace.